Hi, everybody. It's Gene Simmons, and you're not, and you're listening to the Potter Than Hell podcast with Steve, BC, BB, and Dylan. But you knew that, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Potter Than Hell podcast. This is Steve, your host, and I am joined, as always, by my companion,
BC.
And on the keyboards this evening is
Dylan.
And we have a special returning guest host this evening from the great white north. Not quite white yet, I'm sure, but I'm sure they're probably going to be getting flurries very soon. So we have Mark Anthony K with us. What's up, my friend?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
We are doing good here in Pennsylvania, and of course, it's going to start raining any moment here, so you can set your northeastern Pennsylvania weather forecast by our recording schedule. And we're about to get some severe thunderstorms here again tonight.
Same here.
Oh yeah, I would say I wonder how geographically you are from us, like straight line wise,
Weather-wise.
Yeah.
Well, because they're saying that overnight we're supposed to have a big storm. Last night, really bad. We had a really bad storm. Like, there was lightning like crazy. There was a hit like not too far from my house. It scared the hell out of my dog. So I'm hoping it's going to be not so active tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we can get through it, and hopefully we keep the power on all the time here tonight. So, Mark, before we get going, what's up with you? I know you got a lot going on with Project Gemini. So bring us up to date.
Well, I finished all the recording of the track for the new record. This weekend, which will be, I believe, the 13th or 14th of September, I will be starting the mixing of it. And I have made a release date, at least digitally, that it'll be available. I'm hoping that I'll have everything. Well, I'm hoping that I'll have the CDs available by then. I'm not 100% sure, but the reason why I'm making a fixed date already is because there's been a radio show in the UK that's been really pushing do a premiere of the new record, and I had to set a date to do it. So the date is going to be October 24th that the new record will be coming out, which is Project Gemini in the year 3073, Book 1.
That's great. I was gonna, you took the question out of my mouth. I was gonna see if you had a release date ready. That's great. I can't wait to hear it. Is it my understanding that you have some? It's not just you on this. You have some guests on this one.
Yeah, I have two guests. One is a very good friend of mine. Well, they're both from the UK. One of them is a guy named David Donnelly. You might have seen him on one or two of our East-West Vinyl Analysis podcasts that I did with Ken. He guested on a couple. He plays bass on one of the songs on the new record. He's a fantastic musician. I mean, he's with so many musicians. Like, he's played with Glenn Matlock from Sex Pistols. He's played with Tony Visconti, who's produced a lot of David Bowie's records and stuff like that, and it's fantastic, the amount of stuff that he's done. So it's a great honor to have him to play bass on this. And a good friend of mine named Joe Bailey, who's a sort of an artist like myself, but the UK version of it, records, and he does everything by himself. And I got him to do some singing on this with me, so there's going to be another voice on a Project Gemini record, but it really stands out really good. I think that people are going to really enjoy it.
That's cool. Now, this is going to be like a saga, right? You're going to have various parts to it, or?
Yeah, there's going to be a book 2 after this one. Whether it'll start in book 2, I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be a book 3, but so far there'll be definitely a book 1 and book 2.
All right, that's great. I can't wait to hear all this stuff. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, that sounds like it's a really awesome thing. I can't wait to hear it. Everything you do is just, it always blows my mind that you're able to come up with all these different ideas and put them together into these amazing packages. And I really can't wait to hear this next adventure.
Exactly.
I think you guys are gonna really like it. It's if you like my past stuff, you'll definitely like it. It's kind of like just like the next logical step in Project Gemini music.
Cool. I'm very excited to hear it, and I want to see the artwork. To me, is as much anticipated as the music is.
It's out.
Yeah.
I saw
Did you get the thing?
I did not get nothing.
Oh, okay.
But then again, I don't have a house, so.
Oh, that's true. BC's kind of homeless right now. He's living in an appliance box underneath the bridge by our firehouse.
It's a nice place.
Yeah, so it's going to be cool. So you guys out there, look for the new Project Gemini album. It's going to be kick-ass, and I'm sure right up to par, and I'm sure probably even better than the last couple of releases, and which were fantastic. Which, I mean, if they're improved upon, it'll really be like crazy good. And so look for that. Give Mark a shot. And Mark, where can everybody find everything out that you have now out so far?
Well, the easiest thing to go to would be www.projectgemini.com. You can just go there and find it there. And there's also a Project Gemini Bandcamp page. Just go to Bandcamp and just go to the search and just put in Project Gemini. That's spelled Projekt, and Gemini is spelled Geminieye, like an I.
All right, cool. Before we get going here, what are we listening to? BC, what do you listen to these days? Anything?
Some of the tunes we were going over tonight. Lizzie Borden, of course.
Really?
Still kicking Spread Eagle around. Well, I guess with the show, you have to.
I know it.
You have to listen now.
All right, Dylan, how about you?
I've been listening to a lot of out-of-format things. Weezer, Green Day, and Fall Out Boy announced a tour together, and they all released a single yesterday. At the time that we're recording this, I'm not a fan of any of the singles. So
what band is it?
Well, it's Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Weezer. They're going on a tour, like a mega tour next year, and I think it's going to be a wait to see what the set lists look like if I'm going to go, because the last couple albums from most of those bands have been very disappointing, and I know you won't go, so
I will not be going. So I won't be disappointed at all.
But Weezer, they're coming out with a new album, and it's going to be called Van Weezer.
Oh, God. So they're probably going to do like a Van Halen symbol, right?
Here, I'll show you there's the cover. Right there, the purple one.
Oh, well, that's stupid looking.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Weezer's trying to be like meme status, and it's a little frustrating to me because they're not having the music to back it up anymore. They're just resting on their laurels.
Ever.
Weezer's a great band, and they've garnered much praise.
Okay, if you say so, Dylan. Mark, how about you? What do you got going?
Well, of late, I've been on a very big King Crimson kick lately. What I've been listening to lately is there's a kind of a collection that they do, which is they have like a bootleg collection, because whenever they go on tour, they record like every single show that they do on each tour that they've done. They've been doing this for years, like way back to the 80s and even the 70s they did it. So you can go on their site and you can buy certain shows, and some of them you can just get digitally, but some of them they actually do it like full out, digipack packages and stuff like that. So I got their 2017 tour live from Chicago, and I've been listening to that a lot.
That's cool. I wish a lot more bands would do that. That'd be freaking great. Not even like every show, just like do a random show, like make a couple on a tour like that. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, well, but every show, and it's like soundboard, and it's they mix it all, and it sounds like fantastic. Could you imagine getting like every single show available in that quality that you can have on your computer or on CD form?
That'd be awesome. Like I said, I wish at least someone else would do that. That the bands that we listen to, like the metal stuff. That'd be great. And for me, I've been checking out. I've been delving a little more into my good symphonic metal that I enjoy. The new Sabaton album called The Great War. It's fucking excellent, kick-ass shit. New Black Star Riders album, I just got at that on vinyl last week. Another State of Grace, really cool. Still digging the Tool album. Sorry, people out there. Dave Broski, there's something to what you said, but I didn't listen to anything else from those guys, so I can't really get into any kind of back catalog shit. And still checking out the new Hammerfall album, Dominion. Fucking excellent power metal, great bands.
Did you check out the new Lifeson album?
Yes.
The new who?
Lifeson. She just came out with a new album.
Yes.
Yes, I did. He fucked that up. That was going to be my fucking gem for the day. God damn it.
I'll cut it out. I'll cut it out.
No, leave it in. I'll pick something different. I'll be like BC. I'll be unprepared for the. No, that's okay. No.
I'm prepared to.
All right. Well, the new Lifeson album is out. All right. It's called Burning Sermons, and it's really, really good. So she's the ex-lead singer of Sister Sin. Great vocalist, good hard rock stuff. Kind of maybe like a little bit like Accept with a girl singer is kind of how I can kind of put that.
Yeah.
They have the kind of the real like cool like background vocals kind of like Accept. You can kind of get that kind of vibe off of it. Really good. And thank you, Dylan. I will pick something different for my gym.
I like to keep you on your toes.
I appreciate that. And all right, before we get rocking into our topic for this week, we will take a quick break and we'll do some news. All right, the news this week, sad news that I always hate to talk about on the podcast, but recently we've had 2 deaths in the rock community. Eddie Money, probably a week ago by now, and just the other night, Rick Ocasek from the Cars was found dead at his residence in Manhattan. Totally sucks, guys. Just like Eddie Money had some cool shit, great songs, great 70s and 80s songs, and he just played our radio show's birthday bash, I think, either last year or within the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And he's played it a couple times, and he got some cool stuff. Even Ace Frehley recorded one of his songs on his last album. He did I Want to Go Back, and he still wants to go back to Kiss. But and also Rick Ocasek, the Cars, just a great musician. He wasn't with the band at this time because he was not down with what they were doing. I think Todd Rundgren is the one that replaced him in the band. But what do you think, guys?
I did not know that.
That he died or that he replaced him?
That he was replaced with Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
I'm not up on my Rick Ocasek.
Damn it. Like I said, growing up, you always heard these 2 musicians in their bands and so forth. I mean, they're not strangers.
Lots of hits.
Lots of hits.
Lots of radio hits.
Very sad. Reminds me of the 80s. Totally.
Oh, yeah.
Top
I was
down.
laughing with him the other day. I go, 75 years old. Then I stopped for a minute going, oh, wait a minute. I'm almost 50, so I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad, especially the Rick Ocasek, because he produced a couple of Weezer's best albums. And I know that
We won't hold that against him.
Yeah, you're not. But like he produced them. The sound of it was really good. Like his production really helped form the band and made it as good as it was. And it's really sad to lose these 2 very esteemed members of the music community.
Yes. And the other 2 gentlemen that you guys hear are Rob Kelleher and Scott Sadowski. You will hear them on a full episode next week. And also, now we will do some good news. Some like kick-ass news, I think. KK Downing is going to be playing a full show at the Steel Mill. It's somewhere in England, I'm assuming, in the UK. And he's going to be playing with David Ellefson on bass, Les Banks on drums, who was the drummer on Unleash in the East, and Ripper Owens on vocals. And he has another guitar player. Guy's name is AJ Mills. I don't know any background on this guy at all, but when I first heard him, thinking, is KK going to play like all the solos and everything like that? But this is going to be a kick-ass show because the show's going to open with Blaze Bayley doing the opening slot, which is going to be cool. His solo shit is great. BC absolutely loves his Maiden stuff, and and then David Ellefson's going to do his bass story, which is what we saw in at the Rockin' Pod in Nashville, which is freaking great because he talks about the songs and plays some deep Megadeth tracks, and everybody and their cousin comes up on stage and plays songs with them. It's freaking great. Then you get to see KK doing a full set of Priest. I can't wait. I want to hear. I'm telling you, he's going to go deep, BC. He's going to go deep. I have faith in him. You're going to hear some of the stuff.
You're going to hear those deep tracks like You've Got Another Thing Coming.
You got another thing coming.
Breaking the Law.
I hope he does, like
Green Metallici.
Yeah. So what do you think, BC? You're a big Priest
the
guy.
entire Nostradamus album.
I want to see him, since he got Ripper Owens, I want to see him do something off Demolition, Jerkulator.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy shit. That'd be real cool, I think. But it'd be interesting to see him.
That's going to be.
He's got some kick-ass guys with him.
Kick-ass, absolutely.
It's in Wolverhampton.
Wolverhampton. Okay.
Yeah, the United Kingdom.
That's quite a jaunt for us, but that's gonna be
Yeah,
cool.
we
So
can't
if
make
you're
that one.
if you're over there, check it out. I would hope that they would. I'm sure there'll be YouTube videos and stuff, but that'd be cool if they like film this thing. This would be fucking awesome, you know. And so is this a get me back in Priest ploy along with playing the show? Because I think
Yes.
he's
Yes.
doing he's got the bug because he did those couple shows. He did some songs with Ross the Boss at a couple festivals a couple months ago. So I think maybe he's kind of like I want to get back out there. He's been retired long enough.
Now, what songs did he do with Ross the Boss? Do we know?
Yeah, we do. I know we mentioned it, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Nothing great.
I think Green Man Alicia was one of them.
That was
I think.
one of them
Like nothing.
Never think coming.
But then there was one that was like a song that like what you wouldn't think that they would do.
So it's the Green Man Alicia, Heading Out to the Highway, Breaking the Law, and Running Wild.
Running Wild was the one. Yeah. So that's gonna be cool.
But how about him getting Ripper in there? That's awesome.
That is cool.
That is freaking awesome.
Great. I can't wait. I can't wait to see that.
That'll be good. When is that show?
I was just gonna say, what the hell's the date here?
November 3rd.
November 3rd.
Wow.
So that's coming right up. That's like
that'll
boom,
be
like
great.
that's gonna be awesome.
Wow.
And if you guys out there, if you have not had a chance to go see the David Ellefson bass story thing, go check it out because it is cool as fuck. Now I don't know if when he does that everywhere that like he has so many people getting up and playing with him, but like at the Rockin' Pod he did because like there was a shitload of people there. Like Michael Sweet was there and guys from the Rock and Roll Residency was there. Jack Gibson was there. So there was a whole bunch of different musicians there. So I don't know. Maybe you'll see KK come up and do a song with them. Maybe Ripper will sing a song with David. Maybe you'll get Blaze Bailey come up and they'll do like another Maiden song or something like that. So because they do the Trooper, because I know they did the Trooper when we saw them. So that would definitely be cool. So all right, there's our news for the week. Rest in peace, Rick Ocasek and Eddie Money, and we'll get back into the show. All right, we're back from the news. Very informative, BC, don't you think so?
Very change.
I know. You never know. It's like the news is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
You already used that one.
I know, but I liked it so much I think I got to fucking use it again.
If it works,
All right.
it works.
All right. What we're doing this week is, as you guys see from the title and the description, is we're talking about great rock duos. And what we decided to do is not just do like, guitar duos or the singer and the guitar player or whatever. We kind of open it up to, think of two guys that are awesome together in a band, and boom, there's your guys. So we're going to start off this week, and I'm going to actually go first. And my duo is, I'm going to do Steve Perry and Neil Schon from Journey. Just a great, I absolutely fucking love Journey. And if anybody thinks that these guys are not a guitar band, the songs that I'm going to throw out there tonight, it's going to be disproven that they are not, because they just fucking are awesome. Steve Perry, Journey formed in 1973. Steve Perry joined in 1977, and he actually replaced Robert Fleischman, who is the singer on the first Vinnie Vincent album. Vinnie. Anyway, 1978, Zinfinity was the first album with Steve Perry. The 80s, that was their bang zone. Like 81 to like 86 was just like these guys were everywhere. Tons of hits on the radio. But for me, Journey is a lot of the deeper tracks. I just love them. And actually, even they're a band that even some of the hits I really like. And once they broke up in like 1987, right after the Raised on Radio album, they went on hiatus for a while. Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain, they started Bad English, and then when that kind of shit the bed, and actually Dean Castronova was the drummer in that also, then they went on, they did Hardline, and that was after they came back to Journey with the Escape lineup, and they put out the kick-ass album Trial by Fire, which I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Just a great band, and the first song I'm going to throw out there for these guys is from the 1986 album Raised on Radio. It's a song called Be Good to Yourself. I'm sure you guys have heard that song out there. It's one song that I always put on, like if I need to be cheered up or something like that. I absolutely love the song. I love the positivity of the song, but it's such a great goddamn song. The vocals are great in it, and Neil Schon just absolutely tears it up on this song. It's got real choppy. If you listen to the guitar in this song, it's got like real choppy guitars in it, and very melodic. And his vocals are just soaring in this song. And it's got one of those melodies that are just kind of gives you that little intake of breath. I think it's freaking great. The second song I'm going to throw out there is Castles Burning from the Trial by Fire album. Came out in 1996 when like I said before, the Escape version of Journey came back. That full lineup came back with Neil Schon, Steve Perry, Ross Valerie, Steve Smith, and Jonathan Cain. Just a great album. And if you guys have not checked out Trial by Fire, run out or pick up your phone or whatever the fuck you do, grab this album because it is excellent. I don't know, and they never got the tour for this album because Steve Perry found out he had some kind of bone degeneration disease and he needed a hip replacement, and they never toured for this album. And it had like 4 hits off of it. But the song I'm going to pick for there is one of the deeper tracks on there. It's called Castles Burning. It's got a very short, wah-wah guitar in the beginning, like right off the bat, and in between the vocals in the beginning of the song, it's kind of a trade-off between Steve Perry and Neil Schon going back and forth a little bit. It's a great lead guitar song. It's got that, it just shreds. It's got a great feel to it. Steve Perry's vocals, they're a little subdued on this song, I thought, but it's a good back and forth between those guys. And this song is actually about BC. Remember Andre Rison? He was a wide receiver in the NFL in the 80s, and he was always fighting with his girlfriend, and she went to burn his shoes in the bathtub, and she burned the whole fucking house down.
Oh, okay.
So the song's pretty much about that if you listen to it. And there's like a middle part to it where she's like, "Oh, you know I love you, baby." She's on with some show.
No,
she was on the TLC.
TLC.
Yeah, Lisa Lopez. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the song's about that.
Falcons or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the song's about that, and it's a freaking great song. It's very cool. It's a great, just a great friggin' song. It's got a crazy solo, lots of tremolo in it. And like, listen to the outro solo in this song. It just tears it the fuck up. And my third song here is Who's Crying Out from Escape, 1981. And I know it's kind of unusual for me to pick a ballady kind of song here, but this song is fucking fantastic. Listen to it on the album. Listen to it on, there's a live recording release, Journey Live in 1981 from Houston. And the solo, you kind of don't hear a lot of guitar until the solo towards the end, but it's absolutely amazing. And I just love the Journey Escape album, and this song, and Steve Perry's vocals are just phenomenal in this. And if you don't think that, consider Steve Perry a good front man, jump on YouTube, check out that 1981 concert, Journey from the Escape tour, and it's just phenomenal. He's all over the stage, and if you look at the stage, it's pretty much just lights in the band, but it's just a freaking great thing. And actually, you can even see that they have audience members all the way around, so they're not really playing in the round, they're playing like at one side of the arena, but they have the seats behind them filled, so there's so everybody gets a look. So it is a great show, just fucking great songs. I love these guys. I've been waiting to throw a little more Journey into this podcast because I think they're kind of lumped in with like a ballady type band, but they have some rockin' shit out there.
Yeah, I always forgot that Castles Burning was a Journey song, because it sounds so different for them. I don't know what it is about it that it doesn't scream Journey to me, but I like it. It's a little different. Steve's vocals are a little lower than they are on the typical Journey songs you hear on the radio. But I remember you playing it quite a bit back in the day, and it always stuck with me. So I'm glad I remembered what the name of it was, because as soon as I put it on, I'm like, oh, it's this song. Okay. So it's really good, and I do like Neil Schon and Steve Perry's back and forth on that song. It's pretty good. Who's Crying Now, I wouldn't consider a ballad. I mean, it's a slower tempo song, but I don't know if I would call it a ballad.
I said ballady.
Yeah, it is ballady. Good, really good song, though. I mean, it's off of one of their best albums, if not their best album. I mean, you may have picked another song from that album, so That's got to
We'll see.
count for something. But it's a really good one, and Be Good to Yourself is a classic. That's a radio song you'll hear every once in a while. Not as much as Don't Stop Believin' or Separate Ways, but sometimes it'll be playing, and I like it. It's a lower tier popular Journey song that I think really stands up today.
And it's not overplayed.
Yeah, it's not overplayed, not at all.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest with you, I was never really a big Journey person. I mean, obviously, I know the hits because you can't avoid them, especially on classic radio here in Toronto. But when I was in this band before, and one of the guys that was in it, he ended up being the singer in a Journey tribute band in Vancouver. And I went over to his place once and hung out and went over to one of the rehearsals, and I'll be honest, I was surprised how much more the songs sound like rockin' when you listen to them in a live context and on album, right? I mean, these guys played it like pretty solidly, and they have a pretty deep catalog, Journey. So, I mean, because I'm not a big Journey fan, I wouldn't know as much of the deep cuts as you guys do. But I mean, I know the Separate Ways and Open Arms and all those songs that they did, and but it's interesting though how much heavier the songs do sound in a live context than they do on studio.
BC.
How do you not go wrong with Schon? Come on, very underrated guitar player. It's Steve Perry. Like you said, back then they were Cat's Meow back in
Mid 80s.
70s, mid 80s. They couldn't be touched. Castles Burning off a great album, which unfortunately, like you said, they did tour, so I think that could have really put them back on the map.
I think so. They won a Grammy that year.
Yeah, that was bad. Who's crying? Like I said, a guitar working at. And Be Good. I guess every time I hear that song, I guess who was the bass player?
Ross Valerie.
No,
Randy Jackson.
Randy Jackson.
Randy Jackson of Dog. Hey, Dog.
Hey, Dog.
I'm sorry, Dog. You suck.
Every time I hear the song, I just picture the video in my head, and I remember, and I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, Randy Jackson. Yep.
I wanted to
Pre
American
American Idol. Yeah. Dog.
Dog, man.
I was in Journey, Dog.
I'm in Journey, dog. But
right.
So the three great cuts.
All right. Dylan, who do you got today? Who's your band? And give us your first three.
Originally, I was going to go with the classic duo Petrucci and Portnoy from Dream Theater, but then I got a lot of boo-hooing about how long the songs were going to be. So I decided to preempt it and switch to a much more, what's the word I want to say, truncated band, a much more succinct, I'll say, group. I went with Queen, and the duo that I wanted to spotlight specifically are the two most popular members.
Roger
Queen.
Taylor and the bass guy.
John Deacon.
John Deacon.
the bass guy. Yeah, the bass guy.
No,
Yeah.
though Roger Taylor's singing voice is always the highest register in any of the songs, if you didn't know that. But I decided to go with Freddie Mercury and Brian May, the lead singer and guitarist. And fortuitously, I ended up picking 3 songs apiece that they each wrote. So I'm going to split it up. These first 3 songs are going to be the songs that Freddie Mercury wrote, and the second half is going to be the songs that Brian May wrote. So I'll start off with the song that I've talked about to death on this podcast, Death on Two Legs, dedicated to, off of Night at the Opera. A fantastic song. Freddie Mercury wrote it about a real motherfucker of a gentleman, their former manager. Has some really biting lyrics. Like, do you feel like suicide? I think you should. Always gets me. I'm like, wow, that's brutal. But
You can't play that stuff nowadays.
in terms of how May and Mercury interact on this song, I really like it because Freddie Mercury does the piano in the song, and the piano is really the main instrument throughout most of the song, and the guitar kind of accentuates it, and it has like little staccato bursts at times, and it's especially in the intro. I love how it starts off with this like beautiful piano medley, and it goes through, and then all of a sudden the sinister guitar pipes in. It's like as the dun, 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 and it just builds into this huge crescendo of a crazy masterpiece, and then it goes right into the dun, 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 dun. So I think they really play back and forth with each other really well in this song. The next song I'm going to spotlight is Let Me Entertain You. This is a little bit of a different way that they interact. Again, there's piano from Mercury, but in this one, Freddie's vocals, for the most part of the verses and the chorus, follow the guitar almost exactly. It's, you know, and they follow each other, and they kind of weave in and out of each other, and I think it really works for the song. And towards the middle, they go out a little differently, and there's one part where it's just Freddie singing with a little bass and drums behind him, and he'll Corella DeVille you. Love that lyric. But that's a fun little song in the middle of the Jazz album. A really good album. It has Don't Stop Me Now, Dad's favorite Queen song on it. Mm-hmm. It is a fantastic Queen song, and I don't know why you don't like it.
What song?
Don't Stop Me Now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And then the last Freddie Mercury song that I want to spotlight is off of the Sheer Heart Attack album. It's Killer Queen. This was one of the first Queen songs that I fell in love with. It was on Guitar Hero. And I remember being really charmed by the way Freddie sang the song. The drub of the hat. He has a theatricality to the song that really elevates it past the pretty simple melody. Again, the guitar is working more as an accent than the main instrument, but I think it really works. And Brian May's guitar tone on this song is so iconic and just permeates my mind every time I think of awesome guitar sounds. It's amazing, and I always point to this song whenever I'm trying to think of almost a quintessential Queen song. Because everybody says Bohemian Rhapsody nowadays. You know, you can thank Wayne's World for that.
Yeah.
But or you know, We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You. But I really like Killer Queen. It shows the playful side of them, the side that you see on like Blazing on a Sunday Afternoon, or Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, or Seaside Rendezvous. But this one's a little more mainstream and has everybody playing the instruments that they normally play. So that's why I decided to pick that for my final Freddie Mercury song of the Mercury side of the Mercury May dynamic duo.
Okay. All right, what do you think, Queen there, Mark?
Well, Queen is something that I definitely listened to a heck of a lot more, to be honest. Brian May has always been one of these guys that I looked up to, in the sense that, just like Dylan said, he has a very iconic guitar sound. That's one of the things I really respect about him, is that he has stuck with that same guitar and that same model of amp throughout the whole career of Queen, and it was to his benefit, because nobody sounds like Brian May on guitar. And because of that, you know, anytime they released a single, you knew right away that it was Queen, because they, you know, not only because of Freddie's great singing, but of course because of that, you know, guitar playing and their vocals that they do together and stuff like that. I mean, they are one of the great duos of music altogether. And you know, all the songs that were mentioned there, I mean, you know, Death on Two Legs is a great opener for an album, and I mean, I like Night at the Opera. It's a really great album. You know, Jazz was a record that I didn't like too much. I think I got turned off right away when Mustafa started on that. I was like, oh, what the hell is this? When it first came on. But, you know, it kind of grows on you after a while. Some of the later records I thought were very strong. In fact, one of my favorite Queen songs, I'm thinking it's maybe on Works, which is Hammer to Fall. I love that song. I can't remember what album it's on. I think
it's on Works. Yeah, it's on the Works.
Yeah, okay, so that's, I mean, there again, that's like such a signature riff that, you know, Brian May comes up with there, and I think it's, you know, just fantastic. I mean, one of the things that made me re-fall in love with that song again is when they did it on the Live Aid performance. I mean, that performance, it was like, wow, like, it just sounded incredible when they did that, you know. And, you know, as far as them being a duo, you know, early on, they had a little bit of headbutting, because, I mean, I've watched quite a few of their documentaries, and, you know, there was always those issues about who wrote what and who got credit for what. But, you know, as they, you know, became more of a family and less a band, they started saying, you know what, all this stuff doesn't really matter, let's just credit everybody, and everybody gets equal split on stuff. And that just made the, you know, the environment of that band that much more comfortable. But, you know, there's no arguing that the main writers in that band have to be Brian May and Freddie Mercury. I mean, sure, Roger Taylor has some great stuff on there, and even, you know, John Deacon for all his, being quiet and kind of staying back in the corner most of the time, he has written a lot of their huge #1 hits. So, they kind of need everybody in that band to make it the band that it was.
All right, cool. BC.
Queen. They're kind of a guilty pleasure band for me. There's times I get into these guys and I've listened to them for like a week straight, 2 weeks straight. Not this week though.
Yeah.
But a great band. I mean, like you said, I've slowly gotten into them, especially after the movie and documentaries. Very interesting band, but some great picks there.
Yeah, I like Queen. I do. I'm not a deep diver into them. I'm more of the hits kind of guy. But Death on Two Legs, I love the piano in that song. I was listening to that today, and I was like, this is freaking excellent. Really like that. Let Me Entertain You is great. We talked about it when we did Queen Live Killers, and I just love it's an extremely heavy song live for these guys. It's like just kick ass, and Killer Queen is freaking excellent too. I think they were 3 good picks, and it's going to be interesting for everyone when we get the next 3 picks out of Dylan on Queen. See what happens there. Yep. So, Mark, what's your band in your first 3 picks, my friend?
Well, my band, which is going to be probably no surprise to anybody, is Rush, and the duo that I picked is Alex Lifeson and Geddy Lee. As far as I'm concerned, they are, to me, rock royalty. I think that as far as writing music, those two are one of the best pairs of writers ever. I mean, I'll put them, right up against, Keith Richards and Mick Jagger and, Tyler and Perry. And, to me, they've written songs that have, stood the test of time. And, even now, like years and years later, these songs start popping up in movies. And you know how it is. All these bands that have songs popping up in movies, they're always bands that have, kind of looked at as the classic bands, the ones that have stood the test of time, right? So the first song that I picked is Bytorn the Snow Dog off of the Fly By Night album. The reason why I picked that is I've always been impressed by the style of songwriting, how complicated and how progressive it was. And this is already on their second album. I mean, some bands that I listened to weren't writing this kind of complex stuff until albums later, and they were already doing it on their second record. This was like in their early 20s. So I've always been very impressed with the fact that they had this kind of writing connection already this early on in their career. I mean, you got to remember, the record that was before this was pretty much a Led Zeppelin 1 tribute record, if you think about it, right? And this album kind of took a more of a left turn and started adding in all these kind of progressive elements into it. And, it really shows. Like, this song is a prime example of it. I mean, it's like 9 minutes long. You have a whole middle breakdown with, bell trees and chimes and xylophones and all kinds of things, and volume swell guitars, and, and you have like the typical kind of Neil Peart lyrics, which, at that time was very adventurous writing, more story type of writing. But, I mean, the main thing with Alex and Geddy, I find, is how they can take their instruments, which is guitar and bass respectively, and they can make themselves sound much bigger than a 3-piece. That's the one comment that I've always heard from numerous people and musicians around, from my younger times of listening to even now, where people say that they can't believe that Rush was a 3-piece because it doesn't sound like that. And that's just because, the tones that they come up with. Geddy Lee has a very full-sounding bass guitar, and it's the licks that he plays in between Alex's guitar playing. I mean, Alex Lifeson is, I think, an extremely underrated guitar player, but, I think he's starting to get his due now. I mean, I just watched recently a video on one of these YouTube channels, and they were talking about the Alex Lifeson chord, which is the F sharp add 11 chord, I think. But it's interesting that already now, well, by now, people are finally giving him credit, the credit that he deserves. He's a fantastic player, very innovative and very outside the box, I find, with a lot of his chords that he does, and a lot of his whammy bar work is just fantastic. And his guitar solos are amazing. I mean, even the one in this song, I mean, Vitor and the Snow Dog on album is great, like the studio album, but listen to it on All the World's a Stage. It'll just rip your head off. It's just amazing what he can do with that guitar. My second song that I picked is a Passage to Bangkok from 2112. This is another example of what I was talking about earlier. The interplay between the guitar and the bass is just fantastic. I mean, you go first from a unison kind of line where they're playing the same kind of riff, and then Geddy comes in the chorus, and where they just do straight chords, Alex, but his bass line that he plays in that is just so melodic that it's just so melodic, and he's singing on top of that, and he's not following that bass line. He's playing melodies and notes that are not in the same line that he's playing musically on that bass. So that always kind of blew me away, that he comes up with such fantastic lines, and that he's able to sing them, the vocal lines that he comes up with on top of that as well. And then, you start going on later on into later records where he starts doing that, playing bass, singing, adding in keyboards, and even playing keyboard lines with his feet on his Taurus bass pedals. So he was a pretty busy guy, later on as far as playing music. Now the third song is Free Will from the Permanent Waves album. And the reason why I picked this one is I always thought that Free Will was an interesting song off this record, because there's no doubt about it that by this point, 1980, Rush was trying to slowly shed the long epic songs and go to more shorter songs and try to be a little more radio friendly. But while Free Will was kind of looked at as a more radio friendlier song, it is a song that has a very odd time signature. I believe it's like 11/8 time in parts, and it also has a very complex middle breakdown section with that bass and drum, and the guitar solo that Alex plays over top of that bass and drum line is just, it's unbelievable. Every time I've seen Rush, anytime they've played that song and they've come to that solo section, after it's done, it's always a standing ovation for that part, because it's so complicated to do, and they always play like nothing, like it was like nothing. It's like to them it was like they could have did it blindfolded. They're so used to playing that kind of stuff, but it's just amazing from a musician, a guitar player point of view. From myself, just listening to that, I'm always in awe of that sort of stuff. So I always thought that Free Will was a fantastic song from that record, and one that they were able to pursue their commercial side that they were looking for, but yet keep some of those progressive elements to keep the old-time fans happy.
All right, BC.
Queen. I love Queen. I mean, Rush.
Wow.
Next.
It is a band that we did an episode probably a little bit longer ago, but it's a band I wish I can get into more. Not that I can't, but I just wish I had the time to really enjoy it, just get down and enjoy it.
Move out of the appliance box. Maybe you get a chance to.
Times are tough right now.
Not like the two of you guys met these two that we're talking about.
2004?
We did. 2003 or 2004, BC and I actually got to meet Geddy and Alex.
And I love them live. I mean, I just wish I had the time to sit down and really delve into their albums a lot more, because, like I said, there's a lot of depth to a lot of their music that really gets unlooked. And like I think Mark mentioned it, if you played them on the radio and I never heard them before, I mean, you never know. You say, are they a 3-piece or a 4-piece? I say 4 for me. I have to move
at least.
At least. And out of your picks there, Mark, Free Will is probably my favorite one so far.
Okay.
Cool.
So Rush, fantastic. You can't say a negative word about them, at least in certain eras. I'm sure an argument can be made about some albums, but that's neither here nor there. The songs you picked, Vitor and the Snow Dogs, still one of my favorite Rush songs of all time. I love that they're able to portray the characters through their instruments. Like the one part you could hear the guitar is like the barking dog, and it's so cool that they're able to tell you a story with just instruments, and it really goes to show, like you said, the ingenuity and the way that Alex can make the guitar do things that people wouldn't normally think that they can do. It's almost a Peter and the Wolf situation where the different instruments represent the different animals. You remember Peter and the Wolf, Dad?
I do.
Yeah, that used to scare me as a kid when the wolf would eat, some of the animals. You used to get real scared.
They have to eat.
Yeah.
They're in the wild.
Yeah. Passage to Bangkok. It would have been so easy for Rush to make the songs that weren't 2112 throwaway songs on that record. Just be like, who gives a shit? But they made them they're like some of their best songs. I love Passage to Bangkok. It's a classic song. It's the song that Frank Costanza himself, Ben Stiller, not Ben Stiller, Jerry Stiller, was requesting. So it's good if Frank Costanza is on board with it. And Free Will, like BC said, this is one of my favorite Rush songs. The breakdown in the middle, Geddy's bass run is so amazing. Like, it blows my mind every time. It's just, he just goes on a journey with it, and you're just blown by it. And I always forget that Alex is playing guitar on top of it because I'm so fascinated by that bass line. And it's just such a groovy, fun little jaunt that he goes on with that awesome riff. So 3 great songs so far.
Yeah, I'm a huge Rush fan, and if you're new to the podcast out there, guys, we've already done 2 Rush episodes with Mark. The first episode we covered the first 3 albums, right?
Yeah, 2112 we did up to.
Yep, up to 2112, and then
4. So
the next one. Yeah.
4. Yeah.
Right, so go back and check them out. I meant to look up and see what numbers episodes they were, but I totally forgot. But we kind of went in depth on some of on the beginning part of Rush. We actually left off at the end of Moving Pictures, and we're going to be picking that up. So BC, you're going to get to do a little more Rush stuff coming up.
You'll get your wish.
A little bit down the road. So the songs, I mean, they're a great duo. And they're the guys that write the music for Rush, by and large. By Tour the Snow Dog, I love when Rush gets, like, jammy. I like when they just, like, let loose and they just kind of take the song in a direction that you don't think it's going to go, and it just, like, rocks the hell out of it, and then, boom, like, right back to the main part of the song. I love when they do that stuff. Passage to Bangkok, I still love that. I fucking love that. That's awesome. And I do think of Jerry Stiller, Frank Costanza every time I hear that song. And then especially when they on R40, I think it is, right? When he does the beginning of that, and then they play it and it shows him in the back like rocking out, throwing the horns. It's fucking awesome. And that's another thing I love about Rush. I love their sense of humor. They don't take themselves too seriously. I love that about them. They do all the video skits and stuff for on the screens up playing during their shows. Free Will is great. The middle part of that song is, you're just like, wow. And you're absolutely right, Mark. They were able to keep that kind of progressive style into a shorter song, and it fits perfectly, and it's great now. 3 great picks already, and absolutely love it. BC, what do you got for us? No Lizzie Borden.
My pick is Lizzie Borden. Lizzie Borden and Lizzie Borden.
Lizzie Borden looking in the mirror.
No, I stayed away from Lizzie this time, so I go with another one of my go-to bands would be Skid Row. Their guitar duo of Dave Snake. I always say this wrong.
Sabo.
And Scotti Hill. I mean, they've been there from the beginning to even to just today's very day, knock it wood. Got through some vocals, got through some drummers. See, if we're doing threesomes, I can throw in Rachel Bolan.
You can throw in Rachel Bolan. He could be like the sidecar.
So he could be the sidecar. But they're the heart of this band. I mean, and I picked these guys because, I mean, they're live. I mean, to me, when they play live, they don't try to outdo each other. There's just a chemistry, a funness about them. You know what I mean? I don't know, I'm missing on a word here. But to me, they're just a fun to watch. You know what I mean? And one of the first song I go off their debut album would be "Making a Mess." I guess, I mean, when they first came out, I think I was a senior in high school, I think, when this album came out.
89 it came out, right?
Yeah. So, of course, that was the big thing back then, you know, Skid Row, you know, and of course, they're New Jersey, where everything else was L.A. or something. So you kind of felt like more drawn to them because they're East Coast boys.
A little more local.
You know, local, next state away from us. But just love the guitar solo on that song, which sticks out to me. Then my next pick would be off their second album, which to me, they turned it up a notch. Both the guitars are just way more heavier,
More out front.
or grind in up front too, and less radio-ish. Living on Chain Gang. Because, I mean, to me, that whole album between Dave and Scott, they just soloing on both of those songs so far. And number 3, I'm gonna go off the. It's off Slave to Grind also, but it's Beggar's Day. I mean, Skid Row, I don't think they ever got to play this one, but Sebastian Bach did with his band.
Oh, yeah?
Not bad, but I think it's a deeper cut in the middle there, which I think you that one day you're like, what else up? And you threw me for
I know.
about two.
I know. I was like, I don't know why I didn't remember that song. I'll
just-
talk about it when I.
Just listen to, I mean, to me, I love the guitars of Skid Row. I mean, there's other guys in the band, but the two guitars to me is the heart of the band, greatest band.
Okay, cool. Mark.
Yeah, well, Skid Row is definitely something that I can relate to. Back in my high school days, Skid Row were very huge. I also remember going to see them a few times live. They were always excellent. You know, and those first 2 records to me are just a staple of my high school days. So fantastic picks there. I mean, Making a Mess is such a great song. You know, I've always thought that you know, everybody kind of always references side A on that album, you know, with those songs, you know, Big Guns and all those songs. And I've always thought that side B was kind of like the dark horse part of the record. You know, they had so many great songs on that side. You know, I Remember You, and, you know, like you said, Making a Mess. And there's so many great songs on this record. I really enjoyed it. And, you know, the follow-up to that, Slave to the Grind, you know, was something that I didn't really expect. I thought it would be more kind of the same kind of hair metal-ish kind of stuff, but they ended up, you know, kicking it up 2 or 3 notches in the heaviness department. And Living on a Chain Gang is a great song, and same with Beggar's Day. You know, those guys had always such raw guitar tones, you know, when they played, and especially in their solos. I mean, the Scotti Hill has such a, you know, I wouldn't call it piercing, but he definitely has a little bit more top end to his guitar soloing sound than Dave does. But they're just fantastic players, and what I've always loved about them is that they're not mirror images. It's kind of like Maiden. You know, Adrian and Dave don't play the same, and you can always pick out who's playing when, because their styles are so different, but yet complementary. And you know, I always think that that's one of the strongest aspects of a double guitar band, is that if you have 2 guys who can complement but don't sound the same, then you have a great duo.
Yeah, I think they're a great duo, and it's weird. We saw Skid Row the one time, and Snake didn't play. Remember they had that other guy?
Oh yeah.
There was some other guy. We saw these guys in this little club that was actually like a house, and they pretty much played like in the fucking living room. And
That was great.
and they had another guy playing rhythm, and Scotty played all the leads, so it was
yeah.
crazy to see that. And but like they're just a great duo. And on the songs, "Living on a Chain Gang," absolutely love that song. "Making a Mess" is kick ass. And like I said, like BC said, "Beggar's Day," I'm like, this song rips it up. I don't know how the fuck I didn't even remember this song like at all. Like I heard it, and I'm like, is this the first time I heard? But I know I've listened to the album a ton of times. I don't know if it just didn't catch me at the time or what. I don't know, but it's fucking excellent. So if you guys out there are like me and have no idea what the fuck song that is, check it out, Beggar's Day.
It's really interesting you should say that, because as I was adding the songs onto my playlist for this episode, I couldn't find Beggar's Day, and I'm like, is this off of an album that's not on Apple Music? Where's the song? It was the one song that wasn't on my personal Apple Music thing. It for some reason didn't get added when I added Slave to the Grind, so it was just off the album. And so I looked it up, and it's supposed to be on Slave to the Grind. Why isn't it here? So I finally did listen to it, and it was fantastic. Skid Row is currently my top band of the year live. I was so blown away by their performance at M3 this year, and they played 2 out of the 3 songs that you picked, Make It a Mess and Living on a Chain Gang, and they both kicked ass live. You picked a really great duo that I think is probably the most underrated out of everybody we talk about today, and it's cool that we're able to discuss them because they really do complement each other with their guitar playing.
All right, cool. There's our first half, our good chunk of half of our songs there, and we'll take a quick break. We'll do a hidden gem, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back from our little break, and we'll do our hidden gem. And let's start out with Mark. What do you got for us, Mark?
Well, the funny thing is, my hidden gem is the same band that I talked about earlier, that I said I was listening to quite a bit earlier, because I've been on such a huge kick with them lately. The hidden gem that I picked is a live album from them, from King Crimson, which is the Live in Toronto release that they did. And the reason why I picked that is because that was the show that I was at when they came through in Toronto that year. That weekend caused quite a stir in the musical community here, because they had the 2 shows that night. Well, 2 shows that weekend when they came by, and the show that I was at, they didn't do the encore because Robert Fripp, the leader and guitar player, got pissed off that somebody was taking pictures and filming, and because they have a whole thing at the beginning of their show on audio where they do this message that they say, listen, please, no cameras, no nothing, just enjoy the show, put your cameras away for like 2 minutes and just enjoy the concert. And everybody did, except for this one twat in the audience who kept pulling his camera out all the time and started pissing him off with it. So he didn't come back and do the encore, which is 21st Century Schizoid Man. So people were pissed off that they didn't come back, right? He just said, screw you, and that's it, right? And then the next, they came out, and apparently the audience had learned the lesson because everybody was in their best behavior, and they did the full set, and that's what the live album was taken from. So I've always loved this album. It was such a great memory because it was such a great concert. But yeah, that's definitely to me a gem.
What year was that? Again, Mark?
2016, I think.
Cool, very cool. Dylan, what do you got?
My hidden gem is a little off the beaten path. I'm sure everybody at this table knows about it, but some of the listeners might not. Everybody familiar with the great actor known as Sir Christopher Lee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know who it is. Yeah.
He had a couple of metal albums come out.
Yeah, I remember that.
Two of them were based off of Charlemagne. The first one was Charlemagne by the Sword and Cross, and the second one is Charlemagne, The Omens of Death. Kind of a power metal, a symphonic metal type albums. They're really interesting to hear, and Christopher Lee's led such an interesting life. I mean, he was Ian Fleming's cousin. He was a spy in World War II. He was a Bond villain. He was Saruman the White. He was Dracula.
Dracula in the Hammer
Horrors. And he won the Spirit of Metal Award at the Metal Hammer Golden Gods Awards, and it was presented by Tony Iommi. So this guy's led a wonderful life. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years back, but nobody can say that he didn't live. And these albums are pretty fun. They're really cool to listen to if you haven't checked them out before. So Christopher Lee with Charlemagne by the Sword and the Cross is going to be my pick.
All right, BC, what do you got?
I was going to go with an album, but last minute on the drive down here, I changed it to The Vocalist. I got okayed by Dylan. So I was going to go with Sabotage because I'm back on to streaming music again so I can hear everything. And I was going to go with an album, but I said, you know what? Because he's on he's on 5 to 6 albums, so I'm going to go with Zach Stevens from Sabotage. He came in 1993 to not replace, but to do the albums and live touring for John Oliva. And I mean, he to me, when he came in, he just brought a new dimension to their sound. I mean, he's an awesome vocalist. And you want to talk about Michael Sweet? This guy's all over the place too. After his stint with Sabotage, and they kind of went quiet for a while, he started Circle to Circle. He's done the Machines of Grace albums. I mean, he's like 6 or 7 other bands. He's everywhere. So, I mean, if you ever get a chance to check this guy out, Zach Stevens.
All right, cool. He is excellent because we got to see him live with Sabotage. It was fucking excellent on the Wake of Magellan tour, I think it was. Very cool. All right, my hidden gem this week. This is someone from your native land, Mark. The band is called Took, and it's pronounced incorrectly all the time, and it means it's like a hat, right?
Yep.
And
also a character in The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Peregrine Took.
No, Took.
Yeah, Peregrine Took.
Shut up, Dylan. I haven't said that in a while. Just a great band. Todd Dammit Kearns is one of the guitar players in the band. Corey Churko is a lead guitar player. Brent Fitzy from Slash's band. Also, Todd is from Slash's band, as you guys know. And he plays bass on this album. And Sean Gallus is the drummer in the band. They just put out a full album. It came out, I think it came out last month. It's called Never Enough. It's a great album. There's a couple covers on it, and it seems like they only cover, as far as I could tell, Canadian bands. There's some really cool stuff on there. They do Spirit of the Radio from Rush. They do Hot Child in the City, but the original songs on there are fantastic. Innocence is great. Never Enough for You, and they do the song Ironic.
Oh, from Alanis Morissette.
Alanis Morissette, yeah. And they actually do a really cool version of Lunatic Fringe, which is freaking really cool. And they're just a great band, so check them out. Give those guys a shot at the title. They're called Took, and the album is Never Enough, and it just came out within the last month or so. So check them out. Check out our hidden gems. Dylan's got Christopher. Is it Sir Christopher Lee?
Yeah, I think he's.
I think it's Sir Christopher Lee. Charlemagne and Sword and the Cross. Mark's got King Crimson live in Toronto, 2016 show that he was actually at. BC's rocking us some Zach Stevens, and he's done Sabotage, Circle to Circle, a bunch of other stuff. Really cool. Great voice on the guy, freaking excellent. And you're right, BC, he definitely brings another dimension to Sabotage for the albums that he's on. And live, he was just absolutely phenomenal. And mine is Took, Never Enough. So we'll jump back into our songs, and let's flip it.
Okay.
All right? BC, give me your next three. So you're going twice in a row, so too bad.
Nice. See where I left off here. I'm going to go back to, this didn't come out until 1998, but it was left over from the Slave to the Grind recordings. It's a demo that they put on the greatest hits, Fire in the Hole. I can see where it might have got dropped off because it's just it's still rocking, but not the vein of the rest of the Slave to the Grind.
I don't think it would have been a good fit, I think.
No, it's good, but
yeah,
I like the solo on it. But as far as the song itself, it would have. So I can see why they. But it's a great song to me. Then I'm going to 1995's Subhuman Race album, Face Against My Soul. I mean, that whole album, just to me, thought Slave to the Grind was heavier than, like you said, their hair metal first one. This one got even heavier than Slave to the Grind, which a lot of people didn't like it. I don't know. It got a bad rap, maybe because it's not so radio-ish.
Probably.
But I mean, Dave does the first half of the solo and the second half. I love that whammy bar thing he does between the first half of the solo and the second half. But it's such a heavier album, and even the guitar tone got darker, I guess you would say. Mm-hmm. But Face Against My Soul off of 1995 Subhuman Race. They're going to finish it up with off of the United I killed this
Rebellion.
United Rebellion EP from 2013. I'm going to pick the song Let's Go. I don't think there's a bad song on that first one. Mm-mm. And then it came out the second one. I guess they're still supposed to come out with the third one with the new vocalist.
It's in the mail.
With the new vocalist on it. So hopefully they do that, because I think between Dave and Scotti Hill now that they're doing these little albums, to me they're just, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. There's more freedom for them. There's no pressure nowadays for them. Because they're not,
they're doing it on their own.
They're doing it on their own to come out 6 songs here and 7 songs there. And I just think it's such a more in they always had a raw sound, but I think the EP and the next one just so much more raw and fun.
All right, cool. Dylan.
Okay, Fire in the Hole. That was another one that took me a while to find. I was concerned. I'm like, is it only a demo? Because I didn't want to listen to the unfinished version. But good song. I like it. But like you said, I can understand why they didn't put it on the album. But it wasn't because it was a shit song. It just didn't fit with the rest of it. But still really good. Let's Go. I love that song. That's a fantastic, fantastic song. And I'm really disappointed that, though I do like their current lead singer, I'm disappointed that the lead singer that was on that EP didn't last more than a cup of coffee.
No, he was there for for over 10 years.
Is that
Johnny Salinger?
Is that the second one then? Like the second EP
Johnny
that
Salinger replaced Sebastian
Bach, and he was there for over 10 years.
The third. I'm thinking the third guy then, right?
Tony Harnett.
Yeah,
Tony
Tony
yeah.
Harnell.
Yeah,
he was
that's
also
all right.
in there for like not
He-
even. I don't even think he even did more than a couple of shows, didn't he?
I think
No, I think he lasted a couple shows. That was it.
2 or
That's
3
what I was
shows.
thinking
Yeah.
of, Ben.
You're thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this guy, he was
No.
with them for
A long time.
Yeah,
thick,
well,
thick skin,
he deserved it because he's a good vocalist.
the 2 EPs.
Yeah, and Face Against My Soul is also a pretty good song. So that was a really good list you made.
Some human race beauty.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I never listened to Skid Row once Sebastian left them. So I'm not really familiar with the, stuff like Let's Go or stuff like that. But I did check it out. It is good. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at, obviously, right? And Fire in the Hole, you guys are right. I mean, it's a good song, but obviously it was left off for a right reason because, it just didn't have the same impact that the songs on that record did. So, but it's still a good song. Subhuman Race, the album though, was an album that at first kind of took me aback a little bit, to be totally honest, because I kind of found that they were maybe trying to pull a Pantera at the time, because they were even, wearing shorts like them on stage, and they were trying to look like them, and I was thinking that they were trying a little too hard to be them and not Skid Row. But the songs are pretty good. I mean, My Enemy is a cool song, and my favorite song off that album actually is Beat Yourself Blind. I think that's a really good song on there and has a pretty dynamic singing by Mr. Sebastian Bach there. But it's a good album, and Face Against My Soul is a really good song as well. But again, once I gave it more of a fair chance and just didn't concentrate so much on the fact that they were trying to be Pantera, I actually think it's a pretty good album.
Yeah, I enjoyed these songs. Fire in the Hole, I had not heard that one either. I thought it was a very cool song. Face Against My Soul, excellent song, and that's another song. I'm like, why didn't I know that song?
Just the drums are.
I know, and that album, Subhuman Race, is heavy as fuck. And I think you got a good point there too, Mark. That I think they may have been trying a little too hard to be more metal than they were, if that sounds correctly or not. But like, it's great though. I mean, if you listen to it, it's a tough listen if you listen to the first album and then throw this on right after it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that.
It's quite the shift.
Yeah, it is. It is. If you listen to the first 3 albums in a row, there's that progression.
Yeah.
But if you put the first one on, then put this one on, you're like, is this the same fucking band? You're like, what the fuck? But like it's good though. It's different for them, but it's good. And I think they were just trying to be more metal than they were. And then when they got Johnny Solinger in for Revolutions, was it Revolutions Per Minute? I think it was, and Thick Skin. Thick Skin was the first one though.
Thick Skin came out first.
Yeah,
In Revolution.
and then with the EPs, the Rebellion ones were really good. And Get Up is a freaking rockin' song. It's great. And you're right, BC. There is not a bad song on that first one. Excellent. I think they were really cool. Mark, give us your next 3.
So the next song I picked for my duo of Alex and Geddy is the song "The Trees." Now, this is off of the Hemispheres album. Again, this to me shows great writing between the two of them, because it's very complicated in the sense that it's, you have a classical guitar to start. Geddy Lee comes in, sings, and has this whole bass line thing that he does with the classical guitar part at the beginning, which is just fantastic, the bass line. Then you come in with the rest of the song, and then you have that middle breakdown section with the keyboard solo, the little guitar part that Alex plays, and you have Neil with the wood blocks and the chimes and all that. And again, you have another great section where it breaks down to, Alex doing some guitar soloing parts, and then they go back in to a bass and drum part, and it's just going back and forth, and they're just trading off stuff. And even Geddy has a moment on bass there. So I've always thought that The Trees is one of those songs that shows the diversity of what they can think of on different instruments besides just the guitar. I mean, they brought in a classical guitar and an electric guitar. They also brought in a keyboard. Neil brought in a bunch of percussion elements into it. So they were really expanding their songwriting ideals. The next song that I picked is one that I'm not sure that many Rush fans that were into the older stuff would like as much, but I've always loved Power Windows, and the song that I picked off it is The Big Money. Now, this song, to me, I think shows, it's a different era for Rush now. Geddy Lee has ditched the Rickenbacker and those basses, and now is playing a wall bass, and it definitely has a much thinner bass sound. But in this song especially, those bass lines that he's playing in the verse and that he's singing on top of that is just mind-blowing. I mean, if you're a bass player, listen to what he's playing on bass and then try to sing that part on top of it and play that. I mean, even he admitted that it was a pretty hard thing for him to sit down and learn flawlessly to play. So I've always tipped my hat on that. And while the guitar playing on this is a little bit more laid back, the one thing that Alex always did in this era, I thought, where you have like the albums like Power Windows and Hold Your Fire and even Presto, is that while his rhythm playing might have been a little bit more basic and not as complicated, his guitar soloing definitely stepped up 2 or 3 notches. He had some amazing guitar solos, and The Big Money definitely is one of those songs. And the last song that I picked is Animate from the Counterparts album. Now, this album is always viewed as the return to form for Rush. It was engineered by Kevin Shirley, who does all the Iron Maiden albums, and this is actually Kevin Shirley's first proper big album that he did. And this is the one that actually put him on the map as an engineer, and for good reason. I mean, you listen to the sounds that he got on here. I mean, he got Geddy to go back to playing his Fender jazz bass and his old Ampeg bass. And so his bass guitar sound on this album is just incredible. And, Alex is back to the Les Pauls and the Marshall stacks. And it just made for a much, much heavier and fuller sound, much to what the, original core fans were used to. And Animate, the song, again, is one of these songs where if you listen to the bass line and the accompanying guitar line with it, they're just so complementary, it just sounds gigantic. Like when you put those two elements together, and then on top of that you have Geddy singing again on top of it, which is just fantastic. The melodies in this on this song are just amazing. I've always thought that the one thing that made these guys special is how they can make such complicated lines on their own instruments, and yet not step all over each other, and yet have enough room and foresight to put vocals and nice melodies or strong melodies on top of these complicated bits.
Yeah, I really like these songs. I like the actually, if I had to pick a half of your list, I would be picking the second half. Trees is just a fantastic song, and just a great song. I mean, we went over that when we did the album, but I really want to talk about Big Money and Animate. Big Money, of course, from Power Windows, BC's favorite fucking Rush album from back in the day. I love Big Money, and the first time I ever heard this song was when I picked up Show of Hands, the live album, because I kind of got out of the Rush stuff for a little while there, and I really kind of missed a couple albums and stuff, but Big Money was always one of the songs that I always really liked from that Show of Hands album. BC, it maybe it's growing on me too. Maybe I'll like Power Windows a little more since it's your favorite. And Animate is one of my all-time favorite Rush songs. Absolutely love that. When you picked that, I was like, holy shit, great song. It's he puts just they both gel together so well. And you're right, Mark. This song has such a big sound to it. And the vocals are great. The guitar tone is just friggin' phenomenal on it. It's one of my favorite Rush songs. Absolutely love it. Dylan.
Yeah, the Trees is one of my favorite Rush songs. As we said back in the episode where we covered that. Big Money. I love the keyboard sound in that song. A lot of people say this was a bridge too far for Rush and checked out during the synth era and the lowered guitar sound era, but I think they do some interesting stuff in there. I think there's a lot that's worth looking at, and I think Big Money is one of those songs. And of course, Animate is a really awesome return to form. That's for the Rush fans that that weren't into the synth. It was the wake up slap, the shot of espresso in the morning.
Good return.
The nice return to form. So I think those were really good picks to wrap up your Geddy and Alex duo list.
BC.
Three great picks to finish off here. Trees, another great song. Big Money. I won't be going to that. And the one that I like the most out of this, I'm going to Animate. I mean, I wasn't too familiar with the song, but then again,
It's great.
a great song. I really, again, wish I had more time to sit down and really delve into these these albums.
All right, cool. What do we got? Dylan, give us wrap up your list.
Okay, so I had the Freddie Mercury written songs in the front half, and now we're going to go with the Brian May written songs. I'm going to start off with a great song, the opening song off of Day at the Races, Tie Your Mother Down. Starts off with a really cool kind of like back in the rafters guitar. It's it's not up front, it's kind of back a bit from the speakers. And then there's almost a carousel-like thing that happens. And then and it goes into the amazing, simple but effective riff of Tie Your Mother Down. Really, really iconic song. It's a nice little chugger. It's just a song that I think gets its momentum going, and once it gets going, it doesn't stop. And I love the harmonies in the song as well. It's really good during the chorus, and Freddie does some nice little. Almost like scanning at one point towards the end with a dip, but it's a cool, different song for them off of an album that I think is often overshadowed by its brother, Night at the Opera. The next song I'm going to do is actually a song that Mark had mentioned before, off of the Works album, Hammer to Fall. Like Mark said, it's a monster riff. That is a lot of people consider that almost a callback to some earlier Queen sound. And it is a really hard rockin' song that has a power to it, a little bit of a message behind it. But I love Freddie singing in it. He does a lot of cool, come on. That's really impactful, and I love that last hammer to fall, and he hits that note. It's a really, really effective, hard rockin' song for Queen. And then the last song I'm going to cover is another song from Sheer Heart Attack, Now I'm Here. I like to call this song Fun with Audio Panning. It goes in the different ears, and it's really effective how they do that. And actually, when they used to do it live on stage, during the Now I'm Here and then the Now I'm There, they had Freddie on one side of the stage disappear into smoke, and a stagehand dressed exactly like him would appear on the other side of the stage. So it almost looked like he teleported. And it was a really cool little old school magic that really made it translated the audio version of it to a visual medium for the audience, which I think is really cool to do, because this song is cool with the panning, but then it goes into a nice little rock and groove part that almost feels like it could be a Rush riff, like like an old school Rush riff, like from the first album. But I think that Brian May was a really good songwriter for the band, and these are three songs that I really enjoyed that he wrote.
All right, cool. Mark, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I got to agree. I mean, obviously, Hammer to Fall, I was singing the praises of that earlier. Again, what a great riff. I mean, and it's in one of the things I've always kind of wanted to always point out to people whenever I talk about writing music is that it doesn't need to be a complicated riff to be a good riff, and that's just a prime example of that. I mean, that it's such a fantastic and not so complicated riff to play. And same with Tie Your Mother Down. Tie Your Mother Down is a relatively simple song to play, but it's so catchy. I mean, it's such a identifiable riff. I mean, you can play the first 5 seconds of it and everybody probably knows what that song is. So it's another showing of Brian May's strength as a riff writer, And then Now I'm Here is again another great song, and again a catchy yet simple guitar line. And I have to agree with Dylan. The whole panning of the vocals here and there and everywhere is great audio fun. They call it audio candy, but it's definitely something that makes the song stand out a little bit more. And that's the reason why producers like doing those kinds of things, because it can take a song that's fantastic, but give it that little bit of extra icing on top to make it that much more exciting for the listener. So great picks.
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to this Queen stuff. Tie Your Mother Down, like tons of bands cover that song, but and I was so used to a lot of the cover versions of it.
Lynch Mob.
Yeah, and Warrant does it. Warrant does a version of it too, and I was so used to those versions of it. And then when I listened to, I don't know if I've ever listened to it on the album before, and because it started out, and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit at the beginning? Like, I never heard this stuff before. And then I'm looking at the thing, I'm going, is this the right goddamn song? And then it comes on, I'm like, oh, okay, because I never heard that before. Even when you'd hear it on the radio, I don't think I've heard that stuff at the beginning. So I was like, what the fuck is this? But absolutely love that song. Hammer to Fall is just a great, heavy song, and I think when he does it at Live Aid is just like crazy good. Just when you could. I just love the shots from any songs from that when they show from behind the band and you just see the sea of people and everybody clapping in unison. Absolutely love it. Hammer to Fall is definitely up near the top of my Queen list. And Now I'm Here. That's cool too. I like it. It's not a favorite of mine, but I enjoy it. BC.
Again, finished off strong here. Tie Your Mother Down. I mean, that's classic Queen. Like you said, there's so many bands out there that have covered that song throughout the years. Hammer to Fall is one of my favorite, and especially during the movie there when they kick into it, like you said, and just looking over the crowd. It just they hear that in the movie theater. Mm-hmm. It just. And now I'm here. I got to agree, Steve. I like it, but I mean, not one of my go-to songs right now. But strong finish there.
All right, I'm gonna finish up my list here. My Steve Perry, Neil Schon duo here. I'm gonna start out with the first song on. If you had this on vinyl or cassette, it would be the first song on side 2, "Edge of the Blade" from Frontiers. It's just got a great there beginning that down like just I'm not a guitar player, but it doesn't seem like it's a very complicated riff, but it sounds simple, but it's very effective, very cool. A great Journey, one of their harder songs, I think. Steve Perry's vocals on this are just absolutely insane. There's some stuff he does on here, and it's just fantastic. And this is another song that I think is a great back and forth between Neil and Steve, because there's he'll sing and then you get leads in between, and then he'll sing another part and you get another friggin' tearing off some shredding things there. And when they did Frontiers, it's the last album that they did with the what they call the classic lineup until 1996. So just a fantastic song. And apparently they put out a DVD where they performed Escape and Frontiers live, but there's some other guy singing on it. It's not even that Arnel Pinea or whatever. It's some other dude singing, I guess. And I mean, I'm just going by reviews and stuff that I've read that it's some of the songs are not pulled out very well vocally. But
is it when it came out?
You can't. I think it just came out recently, but it was from 2017. And so I don't know why. And there was some other dude playing keyboards too. So I don't know what the deal with that was. But and anybody that listens to the current version of Journey, I don't even with Arnel Pinea. I mean, great vocalist. But you listen to something that he does, and then put a Journey album on. Even just go live. Not even close. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Not even close. And I wish that when they were they at the, what the hell were they at? The Grammys or? Oh no, when they were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, duh. Like Steve Perry, showed up, was with them. I wish they played. I wish they fucking played. I'd be like, but they probably do some ballad though. But they definitely do. Don't Stop Believing. Yeah, they definitely do that. But it would be cool even to see that. And I think it was a missed opportunity. But what are you going to do? Next track is one of the deep tracks. I'm going back to the Escape album from 1981, Lay It Down. This is one of my all-time favorite Journey songs. This song, it's got a great, it's got maybe the little honky-tonk feel to it. Like when you get the piano going in the middle of the song when he's singing, and his vocals are so like soulful on this song. And he just like puts it out there. It's a song about playing live and hooking up and everything. It's fucking great. And the song this is one of the few songs that Jonathan Cain, when they would do it live, he would come out and play rhythm guitar. And so Neil would just friggin' absolutely tear it up. And listen to Steve Perry's like yells or screams, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the song. Just absolutely devastatingly fucking excellent. Just kick ass. Throw this song on. You will not be sorry. If you're not familiar with it, get familiar with this motherfucker, because it kicks ass. And the last song I'm going to talk about is the song called Line of Fire. It was first on the Departure album from 1980. And the first time I actually heard the song was from the 1981 Captured Live album. And there's a part in it, that gunshot, like a boom, there's a fucking explosion on it. It scared the shit out of me the first time I heard that. And this is another song that, like, just because of that, I think of that moment every time I hear this song. And they even do like a little gunshot on the studio version, but the live version is the one I'm going to go with here. Just friggin' excellent. The guitar, it's got like a bluesy feel to it, but it's a really great song. The vocals are awesome, and you have some more back and forth and some great shredding in it. It's a short song, but it's a great song live. So there's my three. So what do you think, fellas? Mark, what do you think?
Well, again, like I said, I'm not the biggest knowledgeable person with Journey, especially once you start getting into more of the deeper cuts. But I'll tell you, after listening to your descriptions of the songs, one of the things I will be doing is I will download these songs on my iPod, and I will check them out thoroughly to give them a more thorough listen to. Because, I mean, look, those two are obviously one of the, I guess, dynamic duos of the 80s and late 70s era. There's no doubt about it in my mind that they wrote some songs that will forever go down in music history as, songs that people will listen to for years and years to come. So great picks. And the ones that I do know, I do enjoy, and I do enjoy a lot of their hits too. So I can imagine that if you have this much, what's the word I'm looking for? If you have this much confidence in their deeper cuts, I'm very anxious to check them out.
All right, cool. BC.
I thought Dylan finished strong, but I love the Edge of the Blade. Off a great album. And like you said, it was, Schon is just to be, I think he got lost in, say,
Ballad Land,
and Journey was always known for, the ballads and stuff. And he's just so underrated. Lay It Down. Like you said, fucking rips it up. You can listen to this over and over. Line of Fire. I'm really liking that one now, because that was probably
the dark horse for you.
The dark horse for me on this one, but very strong finish. And like I said, Steve Perry, you can't replace him, like you were saying. The songs, you put that on, and the new, nothing against the new guy.
No. He does the material justice,
he
but
does the justice,
he's not Steve Perry.
He's not Steve.
People are like, he sounds just like him. He does not.
No.
And and like you said, no disrespect.
But and like I said, Schon.
There we go, another.
Yeah, these are the three songs that I really had to listen to for today, because they're the ones that I wasn't as familiar with. They're all great, though. I really enjoyed them. Though Lay It Down, it's not the Rat song, so that's disappointing. But it's still a good song.
Way better.
There's another.
Still a good song. I won't hold it against them. Edge of the Blade's fantastic. Loved that. I accidentally listened to the Grace Hits Live version of Line of Fire because you didn't specify.
Oh, okay.
But I enjoyed that version, and I'm sure the Captured is even better. So I'll have to listen to that.
All right. There's our rock duos. I'm going to say volume 1 because there's a million ones we could do.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that Mark was able to come on with this. We'll go around the table. We'll give our final thoughts. Mark, give your final thoughts, and give Project Gemini another good plug here.
Okay, well, thanks for having me on, guys. It's always a fun thing to do here, and it's always a nice thing to do it in terms of getting my mind away from my own music for a little while and talking about some other great bands. So, some fantastic songs that we all picked. I really enjoyed it. A lot of the songs bring back memories, especially the Skid Row stuff, because, I hadn't listened to some of that stuff in a long, long time. The Journey stuff, like I said, I love Journey, especially, and I'll admit it, I'm more of a hits guy when it comes to Journey, but, you've piqued my interest in the B-side and the deeper cut side of Journey, so I'll definitely check it out. Dylan and his Queen picks are something that I can totally relate to because I love Queen and I love the picks that he chose for this. So again, thanks for having me on the show. And so my record should be coming out in October, end of October. So if you guys want to check it out, the best thing to do is to go to www.projectgemini.com or just check out Project Gemini on Bandcamp. My other records are there, as well as a few singles and a couple of EPs. They're all available, and I think right now a couple of them are on for sale actually right now. So if you don't have them in your collection, it might be a good time to go to Bandcamp and check it out.
All right, awesome. Dylan.
Well, thanks, Mark, for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you on it to talk about mostly Rush, but other things as well. But hey, you're really knowledgeable in Rush, and you've shown that just in the little bit you've talked about today. So everybody, if you haven't listened to our Rush episodes with Mark in the past, please go back and listen to them. They're fantastic. This is a really fun topic because, like you said, there are a lot of rock duos out there that we could have talked about. Tyler and Perry is a good one. Captain and Tennille. Sonny and Cher.
Donnie and Marie.
No, but there's a lot of them out there you could have talked about. You could have talked about any pairing
Malcolm and Angus.
Yeah, Malcolm and Angus. Any pairing from Maiden.
Oh, yeah.
There like millions of them. Maybe not millions, but hundreds of them that you could have picked. And I really like the ones that we picked. A lot of them were under the radar, like BC's pick. So I'm really happy that I got to listen to all of these awesome songs of these great duos. And hey, if anybody has any duos that they'd like to spotlight, comment on the episode and let us know.
Again, thank you, Mark, for coming on. It's always a pleasure having you on. Not only great songs by three great bands, but iconic bands, I think. I'm not counting my band.
Oh, okay.
I can talk about you guys. Come on.
Oh, okay.
I talk about myself. But
why not?
Journey, Rush, and Queen. They're so the history and
influential
to people and see depth catalog of these bands is sure to be checked out more, especially by me. I said my Queen is my pleasure, guilty pleasure, but I need to really delve into Rush more.
All right, cool. And I remember, probably last year or the year before when we were doing the podcast, I remember a couple, when we did the What Are You Listening To? BC had the same Queen CDs in his vehicle for like a couple weeks in a row. So BC's, he's a big Queen guy. And Mark, thank you again for coming on. It's always a pleasure having you on this show. Your knowledge is, especially Rush, far surpasses us. That's why we let Mark take the lead on the Rush episodes, and he does a fantastic job. And like Dylan said, if you haven't checked those out, go back, check them out, or go back and give them another listen. And check out those older Rush albums and check out the songs we have, and even the newer stuff. You can delve into BC's favorite Rush album, Power Windows. And it was cool going into all these songs, like the Queen songs. Like I know them, and like I was like with Tie Your Mother Down. I never heard that stuff at the beginning before, and the ones that BC picked, I'm like, how did I not, know these couple songs? And Mark's picks like Animate. I'm like, holy shit, he picked Animate. Absolutely fucking love that song. So and I was happy to shed some light on on a couple Journey tracks that some people may not have known or may want to recheck out again. So it's always fun doing different stuff like this. And like Dylan said before, there's tons of other duos we could do, and we'll definitely continue the series as we go down the road. And I just want to thank everybody out there for listening, interacting with us, sharing the episodes. I want to give a shout out to all of our listeners out there. We have listeners in dozens of countries. Not all the continent. We don't have anybody in Antarctica listening. I don't think that I can tell.
The penguins have not gotten to
the
us
penguins
yet.
have not gotten it yet. But it's great just seeing the different countries we have listeners from. It's just fantastic. It just absolutely fucking blows my mind. And so shout out to everybody out there. Thank you for listening. Tell your friends about us, your metalhead friends, your rock friends. Let's we'll keep the ball rolling here. A lot of the songs we checked out tonight we're going to throw on our Spotify playlist. The link will be on the bottom of the show. Check out Project Gemini, all Mark's stuff. It is fantastic. Look for his new album coming out in October. And when that does come out and we get a chance to absorb it a little bit, we'll have Mark back on. We'll do another Project Gemini episode with Mark. We'll hopefully get the album some more traction. And thank you for tuning in, you guys. We love you guys out there. Do us a favor, you can get on iTunes, give us a review. A 5-star would be greatly appreciated. We'll read it out. We'll give you a shout out. What that does is it helps get us associated with bigger podcasts. So like if you listen to something, another podcast that is like this type, and they have millions of listeners, it will associate our podcast with bigger podcasts, and maybe we'll can grow our audience that way. Also, will be much appreciated. Go on Podchaser, another great place to check out podcasts and write reviews and everything like that. And so, thank you for tuning in, you guys. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. I know everyone's time is precious to you, and we appreciate the time that you spend with us each week. And take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We will see you next time. There definitely will be a next time.